2 months after our wonderful wedding, I divorced my husband. Why, you ask? He lied to me about working overtime while he was actually cheating on me. No wonder he suddenly turned cold right after our honeymoon. To get back at him, I managed to get evidence of his affair with my friend's help and laid out the perfect plan. Stay tuned. All right, honey? I'll make sure you regret betraying me. My name is Anne. I'm 25 years old. Just recently, I married Bob after dating him for 4 years, and we started our newlywed life. Bob and I went to the same university, and we were in the same college department. Even after starting our careers, we continued to date, and naturally it led to marriage. We received blessings from many people, held our ceremony, and immediately left for our honeymoon. We headed to Alaska. Because of COVID, we refrained from going abroad and stayed within the country. My husband seemed to enjoy our first trip to Alaska so much that he kept saying, "Get a picture of me," everywhere we went. He never really liked having his picture taken, so I was surprised, but I knew it was going to be a sweet memory for us to look back on. So I took many pictures of him wherever we went. But I just had one thing that bothered me. It was nice to see him all excited, but for some reason, he only wanted solo shots. So I suggested, "Hey Bob, since we're on our honeymoon, why don't we take pictures together?" Then he mumbled, well that's fine too, but I want solo shots of myself." "Why do you only want solo shots?" "Oh, it's not like I was thinking about sending these pictures to Mom and Dad." "Then there's no problem if I'm in them too." "All right, fine. Get in the picture then." In the end, my husband became sulky and reluctantly took a picture with me. Even though it was our honeymoon, the pictures of us together didn't have the best expressions. Why would he get so angry? I just wanted to have pictures of us as memories, since it's our once-in-a-lifetime honeymoon. Besides, if he's sending them to his parents, it's obviously better to send pictures of us both looking happy. Even though our marriage life had just begun, a storm cloud had already formed over us. Since returning from the trip, my husband's been acting weird. We had some arguments during the trip, and I was worried, but it didn't seem like he was upset with me. More like he was hiding something from me. I knew he was busy with work, but he constantly worked overtime and went to business trips on a short notice. On top of that, he often left the house saying, "I'm going out with my friends," on his days off. We used to always have dinner together, but I was now eating alone. Although we were newlyweds, I was spending more time alone, and I started to feel very lonely. If things continue this way, we'll only drift apart. I should be honest with my husband about how I feel. That day, I continued to wait for my husband's return, and before I knew it, it was 1 a.m. With the sound of the front door opening, my husband came home. "Welcome home, honey," I called out to him.
"Oh, Anne, you're still up."
"Yes, I have something I want to talk about."
"Something you want to talk about?"
My husband seemed slightly flustered, but he took off his suit and asked,
"What is it?"
Looking into my husband's eyes, I honestly expressed my current feelings. "You know, ever since we came back from our honeymoon, we've been spending less time together."
"Ah, yeah. I've been busy with overtime and stuff."
"But don't you think it's too frequent? You never had to work late or travel this much before we got married."
"What can I do? It's crunch time now. I have to work hard for a promotion."
"Even so."
"Are we done talking now? I'm tired. I'm going to take a shower and go to bed."
My husband ended the conversation and went to the bathroom. I was left alone in the room, and a huge sense of emptiness swept over me. The fact that he didn't understand my feelings at all almost brought tears to my eyes. At the end, my husband's cold attitude didn't change even after that, and our time together only lessened. We shared the same bed, but I always go to bed first. Even if I wait for him, he would simply say, "I'm tired," and go to sleep by himself. We were so close when we were dating. At this rate, things weren't going to get any better, so I decided to talk to my friend Linda. Linda and I have been friends since middle school, and we also went to high school together. She even gave a speech at my wedding. Basically, she's my best friend. When I explained the whole situation over the phone, Linda thought for a moment and then said, well, after my husband and I got married, we got more relaxed with each other too, you know." "Is that how it is?"
"That's just how it is.
Don't you feel relieved after getting married? Once you get your marriage certificate, it's not easy to get a divorce. That might be true, but you don't feed the fish you caught, as they say. I think it's the same for all married couples. Linda got married a whole year before me, so her words were somehow convincing. I thought to myself, so that's how it is. But I was disheartened by the lack of romance in real life. Can I endure this marriage for the rest of my life? I couldn't quite say yes, although I tried to improve our relationship by talking to Bob. He continued to go on his business trips and worked overtime as usual. I couldn't even get him to sit down and talk with me. I spent my days in frustration. One day, I received a phone call from Linda. Hello? As soon as I answered the phone, she screamed out, "Sorry, Anne, I take back what I said." Huh? Linda? What's wrong? You sound so frantic. Just stay calm and listen to me carefully. Actually, I saw your husband shopping with another woman. What? Hearing the news, my mind went blank. While I was at a loss for words, Linda started to slowly explain the details. I work part-time stocking shelves at a supermarket in the neighboring town, right? Your husband came here, arm in arm with a woman. Arm in arm? Yeah. I was at work, so I couldn't take any pictures, but that was definitely your husband. No way. I'll let you know if they come shopping again, she said, hanging up the phone, even after finishing the call with my best friend. My hands won't stop shaking. There were so many things I wanted to ask, but I was at a loss for words. It can't be. Is Bob cheating on me? We've only been married for a month, but then again, there's no reason for Linda to lie to me. Our relationship was good until our wedding, and there was no sign of him seeing another woman. What made him change so suddenly? With no clue, my mind was in a mess. A few days later, Linda called and reported, "Your husband came again." And a few days later, she told me the days and times when the two of them were spotted at the supermarket, along with several photos for evidence. It seems that my husband and his lover are regular customers at the supermarket where Linda works. They must be getting groceries there to avoid running into acquaintances in our neighborhood. Since Linda is wearing a mask at work, my husband hasn't noticed her yet. He is confident that his infidelity has not been discovered, and is brazenly enjoying shopping, linking arms and holding hands. If they're buying groceries at the supermarket, it's almost certain they're going to his lover's house afterwards. To an outsider, they probably look just like a normal married couple. The fact that he was cheating filled me with sadness and anger. As I stared at the photos from Linda, I discovered a shocking fact. What is this? This has to be a joke, right? My husband's mistress was a friend from our college days. She was a woman named Monica, who was even at the after-party of our wedding. At that moment, I felt as if something inside me had snapped. Thinking back, Bob and Monica had been close since college. Since we were in the same department, I of course knew her. However, no matter how close they are, having an affair is unacceptable. My sadness was replaced with anger and a growing sense of disgust towards my husband. I can't believe it. How far does he have to go to make a fool out of me? Cheating right after we got married. And with Monica of all people, I can't stand this. I won't let this slide. I'll make them pay for this. That's when I decided to get back at them. With Linda's advice, I decided to take action immediately. The plan was to catch them red-handed when they come to the supermarket. According to Linda, they go to the supermarket on Mondays and Thursdays. After discussing with her, we decided to execute the plan 2 weeks later on a Thursday. Luckily on that day, the supermarket was having a 5% sale for all the items, so the place was crowded. In other words, even if I caught them off guard, they wouldn't be able to cause a scene or run away. It was the perfect place and time to confront them. Until then, I decided to gather as much evidence of their affair as possible. The plan was to confront them at the very end, at the scene of their affair. While my husband was sleeping, I secretly borrowed his phone and checked his photo album. There, I found a picture of them barely clothed, smiling and looking happy together. If this was me a while back, even just one of these pictures would have brought me to tears. But now, I have no such feelings at all. Rather, I can use this as evidence to further corner them. The thought makes me shudder with anticipation. 2 weeks since then, the day for me to confront them finally came. After waiting in the shadows of a utility pole near the supermarket for about 10 minutes, as expected, Bob and Monica came out of the store. They were headed towards the parking lot, carrying their groceries. I boldly went up to them. Upon seeing me, Bob's face turned pale in an instant.
Anne, why are you here?
His shoulders were shaking, and he muttered quietly. But I boldly retorted, "Why? It's obvious. I'm here to catch you two in the act of cheating."
"No, it's not like that. I just happened to meet Monica here."
"Don't play dumb. I know you two have been coming here almost every week." With that, I scattered the evidence I had collected in front of them. I could see the color drain from their faces as they saw me. Perhaps out of fear, tears welled up in Monica's eyes. My husband probably realized that he couldn't play dumb any longer, so he admitted it pretty quickly. To cut to the chase, my husband and Monica had been having an affair since right after our honeymoon. No, it would be more accurate to say that his feelings were already shifting towards Monica during our honeymoon. No wonder he didn't want to take photos with me. To make the matter worse, their affair started at our wedding's after party. My husband reunited with Monica, who attended as our mutual friend. She was single and apparently made the first move. They kept in touch since then, and they were even texting each other all the time during our honeymoon, which is shocking. All the pictures he made me take were for Monica. They officially started their relationship right after we returned from our honeymoon. While he was telling me he was working overtime or on business trips, they were meeting frequently like this, and he would spend the night at her place. Seeing my dumbfounded expression, my husband started with his pointless excuses.
"Yes, I did have a little fling with her, but I'm not serious about her."
"What? What are you saying now?"
"I'll break up with Monica, so please forgive me."
"Forgive you? You're having an affair right after our wedding, and you got the nerves to say that?"
"I beg you. We just had everyone celebrate our marriage. I can't bear the shame of them knowing that we're getting divorced."
"What?" I was utterly disappointed. He didn't want to leave me, but it wasn't because he loved me. He was just worried about how others would perceive him. A guy that got divorced 2 months after getting married. He just didn't want to be labeled as such. I grabbed my husband's arm and dragged him to the parking lot. I shoved him into the passenger seat and started my car. Outside the window, Monica stood still with a completely drained look on her face. She seemed to want to say something, but I ignored her and drove off. I headed to my in-laws' house. Realizing where we were headed, he began to cry in the car, begging me,
"Please, not my parents' house."
Unfazed by my husband's pleas, I kept my foot on the gas pedal. I parked the car in my in-laws' driveway and dragged my crouched husband out of his seat. They were surprised by our sudden visit, but they led us into their living room, saying, "Come in, guys." My in-laws, who knew nothing about the situation, especially my mother-in-law, who always showed affection towards me, started a pleasant conversation with a happy expression. "Anne, dear, it's been a while. Did you enjoy your honeymoon?" "Yes, it was our first time in Alaska, and we had a blast." As I responded cheerfully, my mother-in-law broke into a joyful smile. "Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Do you have any pictures?" "Yes, we have plenty." While showing them the photos from our trip, I shared our Alaskan memories. After a while, my father-in-law, who had noticed something odd about my husband, quietly spoke up.
"By the way, Anne, what brought you guys here today?"
"Ah, right." Seeing the puzzled look on my father-in-law's face, I broke into a smile and dropped the bomb. "Today I came to return Bob."
"Huh? Return?"
"Anne, dear, what did you just say?" "I said I'm returning him. Your son had an affair right after our wedding."
"What? An affair?"
"Wait, is this really true?" "Yes, indeed, and the other woman was a college friend who attended our wedding. I wonder how much more he plans to make a fool out of me." At this revelation, my in-laws' faces turned pale, as if they were about to faint. As for my husband, he was silent, looking as if all the blood had drained from his face. I put the divorce papers on the table, stood up and said, "I'm done with him." Then my husband shouted,
"Wait, please. Please, just rethink this. I will never cheat on you again. So please, anything but a divorce.
Right. Divorcing just 2 months after getting married. It'd be too embarrassing to even leave the house, won't it?
No, it's not like that. I love you from the bottom of my heart, Anne.
He appealed to me with tears in his eyes, but my feelings for him had already died, and I found him to be nothing but a nuisance. It was as if I was venting all the anger that had accumulated, and I looked down at my husband. Quit it, you bastard! I love you from the bottom of my heart. Cut the crap. It's all your damn fault.
Anne.
If you hadn't cheated, this all would have never happened. No matter how many times you apologize, I'll never forgive you. You're a piece of shit, and you should rot in hell. I'll make you pay for this with your whole life, you scumbag.
Wait, Anne.
Shut up. You brought this all upon yourself. Just go on and live your life worrying about others' judgment. With those words, I left my in-law's house. Later on, I demanded alimony from him. With plenty of evidence, he wouldn't be able to wriggle out of it. He was obstinate for a while, but thanks to my lawyer, we managed to get a divorce. I was also able to receive a lump sum of alimony. Of course, I also demanded a lump sum of alimony from Monica, the woman he cheated on me with. He had used up almost all of his savings on our wedding and honeymoon, so it seemed he had to go into debt to pay the alimony to me. Later, Monica was so furious that she had been dumped by him, she stormed into his workplace. She dramatically exposed their affair to his colleague and boss. He had been glossing over the reason for our divorce as conflict of priorities and life goals. But thanks to Monica, it became widely known in the company that his infidelity was the cause. Obviously, he faced a storm of criticism from his colleagues, especially from the female employees. The criticism seemed to be explosive. Bob, he always talked as if his wife was the problem. So it was actually his affair that led to his divorce, huh? That's so messed up. Gosh, he's just plain gross. I would hate to be around him. I heard he got many cold stares at work, and people started to talk behind his back, from his colleagues who had attended his wedding. There were even some who demanded, "Give us our gifts back." As a result, my husband found it unbearable to stay, and he resigned on his own. He can't even rely on his parents, as he got disowned by them. And now no one knows where he is or what he is doing. Well, I won't have anything to do with him ever again, so it doesn't really matter. As for me, I now commute to work from my parents' house and live my life as usual. My best friend Linda also contacts me frequently, so I'm spending my days cheerfully without being particularly depressed. The fact that my marriage ended terribly sucks. But life goes on. I hope to lead a good life in the future, and someday be able to laugh about this short-lived marriage.